mixed in with satanic ritual abuse, which some, a lot of times that does happen to children of these, some of these satanic occultists, left hand path occultists. There's people of the right hand path that are just not a part of that. Basically, if you just believe in the natural law. But anyway, so the government, not the government itself, but the deep state and these globalists, they have used these trauma techniques to control people's minds, to move society and which way they wanted. And that's what I'm talking about here now, because Trump, he got this executive order, he's cutting this off. Now, what's going to happen is people are going to come to, when all this is said and done, is what I'm looking at, right? I'm looking at the big picture of what's going to happen. And the big picture tells me everything's going to end up really fucking good. Excuse me, everyone, but it's going to end up really good. Everything's going to be really awesome. This year is going to be first signs of it. But this year, we're going to have to really fight. Because Trump is, on the offensive now. He's been playing defense just this year. Just he was gaming the system. He didn't, he doesn't know the system completely from the ins and out, but he needed that year, and he used that year well, because not only was he gaming the system, but he got stuff done. Way more than any other president has in history. Beyond George Washington and even his predecessors, that, the little presidents that no one really talks about, but it's just amazing. So, we got to start looking at, what do you do to heal from this trauma? Well, first of all, you got to look within yourself. That's the first step. Completely, with anything really, is to introspect. Look within yourself. Ask yourself, am I hurt? Did I, and some people are totally fine. They, they're not traumatized by any of the events. They're completely aware. They're lucid. They know what's going on. And they're fighting against it as hard as they possibly can. There's some people that are apathetic to it, and it's because they're traumatized, and they're still in the mind control. And then there's other people that want to fight against it, but they're just damaged, right? They're just mentally scarred. And that's where, my personal experience comes in, because, my father is schizophrenic, and my mother, she just, didn't really care. She cared. Okay, the thing is that she took her marriage vows very seriously. And so she stayed with my father, even though he was very abusive, both mentally and physically. And yes, she tried to stop it and everything. But when I really wanted help, when I asked for therapy, and talk therapy is really good. It's more healing than medicine, everyone. If, talk therapy doesn't work for you, then there's something physically going on. Or you're being hard-headed. It's either those two things. Because talk therapy does work. I mean, at least it worked for me. Again, I'm talking from my own experience. And talk therapy was just, amazing. And it did end up abruptly, and, Joyce Yeager, if you're out there, I really appreciate you. Yeah, you were just an amazing person, so thank you. But the thing is that when it comes to trauma, you gotta really look at yourself, and you gotta see, like, all the ugly that you've done too, right? All the things that what the trauma has done to you has caused, you know, in the wake of you trying to recognize that you're actually hurting, right? And you see that, and then when you see that, you say, okay, I gotta destroy that. And this is when you start doing the alchemical work, the great work. This is when you start really changing and transforming. Because when you look at yourself in that way, you have no choice but to change, or to just go, just like, go mad. Just completely go mentally ill. And some people, do get stuck in neuroticism. They get very neurotic and just don't make any more sense and get stuck into trauma, because some things just like are really terribly just happen really bad. Like, some people are just not born with strong minds, and that's just a fact of life. It really depends, honestly. It really depends case by case. And if you have that ability to start healing, then do it. For God's sake, do it. Look at yourself and do some changing. Because there's going to come a time where, you're just going to regret it. And I don't want to regret it. That's why I changed. That's why I am doing everything I'm doing now. Why I'm speaking truth, and I want truth to be, told, to be uncovered, to be released to people. Because when people hear truth, they should be excited by it and run with it and, do something with it. But it's hard. I know it's hard. I know it's really hard. Because there's days where it's just so hard. And introspection can be, kind of dangerous, because, with, like cases like PTSD, rumenting is, one of the biggest symptoms, where you just like steadily focus and, wonder about how, things could have been different. And, like, you're doing that to the point to where it affects you. And it, like, affects your everyday life. That's some serious stuff. And, like, sometimes introspection won't work in those cases. I understand that. Sometimes. But sometimes but the thing is, you gotta, like, become one with that pain. You have to look at it in the face and heal with it. This is why therapists really focus on the child aspect of the mind. Going back to the state of mind that you were thinking when you got into that trauma. Because in a way, you're still thinking in that way. You're still thinking as a child. Because that child mind is traumatized, is hurt, and it's stuck in that state of fear. So in that manner, that part of your child mind is still there in the conscience, it's still there, and like beyond the subconscious, like there in your waking conscious. And so the best way to introspect in that manner would be to focus on the aspect of the child mind. Talk to, talking about myself, talk to Bradley. I talk to little Bradley. Or, talk to little Tom or Susie. You gotta do some real healing. And it's nothing funny about it. It's nothing silly about it. If someone makes fun of you for this, they're really dicks. There's no excuse for it, and they should be ashamed of themselves. Because mental illness is something real, and it affects people in a real way. I mean, like I said, my father was schizophrenic. My childhood was absolute hell. Absolute hell. I had to go to school every day like that. I had to get up every day early with all that going on. Had to push on. Had to keep going. And, I did have my weak moments. Oh God, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, right now, I'm here on the ground, on my knees saying I'm a weak person. But that's okay. It's okay to be weak, because admitting your weakness is just another step of becoming stronger. It's okay to fail, because you're going to find what you did wrong and work from there. This is a time to reinvent. This is a time to do better. This is a time to say, I did the right thing. People have hurt me, but I won't let that hold me back. It's time to stop being weak. Say you're weak, get over it, and work on being strong. It's pride. Pride is a very nasty sin. But you know what? I'm going to stop right here, because you got to really reflect on this. But also remember, Jesus said that to love each other, that this is his commandment, to love each other as he had loved you.